The following presentation is a gift from the team at Streamline Publishing, publishers of Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air Magazine, and weekly newsletters Fine Art Today, Realism Today, Plein Air Today, and American Watercolor, and events, the Plein Air Convention and the Figurative Art Convention. We offer over 400 different art instruction tutorials and ultra-high-quality video by the world's leading artists. If you like what you see, help us support our artists and our team with your purchase. Each video aired has a special discount code for today only in the comments section with a link to the video offered. And to see everything we do, or if you want to receive notice of new releases, new products, and new events for artists, simply click the other link, which says, "See everything we do." Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eric Rhodes from Plein Air and Fine Art Connoisseur magazine. When I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, I got to know Huihan Liu, one of the great Chinese masters who lived in that area and taught at one of the local art universities. This man knows more about painting than almost anybody on earth. I asked him to do a video on figure painting. I think you're going to enjoy it.
Good morning. So today I'm going to choose any, is the order study what I have done before. And finally, I think I make, the final decision. And I'm going to take this one, choose this one for the 2 days post painting. And the idea, just want to tell you that why I picked this one, because another three to me is mostly like a full figure bodies, and they are looking good in different positions and different compositions. And the reason I picked this one because my decision is, I think, is based on the time limit, because I'm going to paint to show you is the 2 days post. So this is more like a slow processing. And I want to show you and how the painting from the, from my studies. So this study is really, under the time limit. So I want to, use this study as the feelings, but I want to show you how to use the 2 days, the time wisely, and slow down and use, step by step, and from the initial drawings and goes to blocking and to the color temperatures, and then to the goes to the paint applications. So all those kind of decision making and combined with the technique and the approach. Because 2 days paintings, I think is different. I think first, is different thinking, because the studies usually is the very quick decision making. You don't have too much time to look at the painting, evaluate it. So 2 days processing, I think, is good. You have the time to slow down, to look at, and to figure out what you're going to do, and on the next one. And also, it's good things you're learning how 2 days, and what my plan in the first day, and what will be in the next day. And so that might be interesting, then you can see it, and how from the beginning, is just set the foundation of the, paint. So today I'm going to just block in, and so it goes from the drawing first, and then to the basic tone, block in. And then some of the paint, is so basically just try to set the direction for the second days. So each day slightly had a different plan. So that's the idea for 2 days processing. And so I'm thinking, because the time limitations and then the feeling what I like, and because I picked this one because I really want to have the time to show you that I think it's a nice design first, and also I'll be able to have the time to slow down to show you how to, paint a beautiful face, because I like the light and the shadows. Is kind of a very fun design. Okay, and also I want to show you. So this is kind of the cell phone, just some snapshot from yesterday. So I'm going to use this to pose and then to bring the model back and then use the same setting up. So I'm going to just bring all the position as close as possible from yesterday. Now I think the pose has been setting up again. I try to get that as much as close. Usually just double check for light and shadows, the angles, just make sure, and I'm happy with. So once the pose and the position, everything I'm happy with, and now I want to tell you that today I'm gonna use the full color palette. So yesterday I was using the three, the basic primary color and plus white. Today I'm going to use one, so pretty much like around 13 and 14 different colors. But actually, is all the color is that as what we learned before, and pretty much we can mix from all those three primary colors. And before I'm doing that, so this is the canvas I'm going to use it, for 2 days. So so this is kind of nothing there. So I'm thinking how to make where's the position for design. So all those thinking is cross my head. First, I think I'm going to use this is a Velo charcoal. So I'm thinking the place, how the such like a size of the head, and so if I'm going to include the hands, so where is the position? So from the position of the hands, and goes to the size of the head, and I'm looking at the distance between. So make sure if I want to put the hands or without the hands, so there is a different thinking. Okay, different thinking means there can be a little slightly different compositions. So how much the size and how much space and the background. So the charcoal, this is the real charcoal. So if something wrong, then simply I can just dusting. So it's easier. So just try to get the idea. And also, I'm thinking, should I just include all the size of the head, or maybe there might be fun to use some of the cropping, part of the head. So how much crop, and what's the the relationship between all the figure, the shape of the figures. And then how much background? So where the shoulder. So I'm finding the basic kind of very geometry shapes. I don't look at any specific small shapes, but rather than see what size there might be. I think the size is really important to make sure it's the right. So everything they have related. Then I take a look and should I slightly to move the head in a position of the head a little bit to the left. So this is still crossing my mind. And let's try slightly to remove, see what happens. So now I think I'm going to slightly change, see how the vertical I go in. So there's another options. I think about the most important, I think, is the design. In terms of the light and the shadows, the gestures. And the reason I'm choosing on this one, because this is one of the 4 I have done from the studies. And what I like this one, first, I like, how the face and the hand. I think that's the very simple reasons, and I think it's good design. That's why I chose this one. each breaks, I think once I come back, the eye is fresh. So I look again and what I have done before. And then anything just bother me, I think better to look at. Right now, I think I might still need to slightly to move the head a bit more up there because I don't want that much space on the top of the head. So, I think the charcoal is much easier. I can just slightly to change that. My attention is always to, I think, the angle. So each section, I think, is so important. And I put all the shadows, connect all the shadows, so I see all the shape, how they connect. So mostly, I think the size is so important. The size, the distance. Such like so where's the position of the hands? So not the finger, but the shapes, the place. So if the place is not right, and so everything is off. So don't do any like small things. So each small shape is to me is not that important. So it should be everything is based on the major shape. It has to be right. So each one position, size of the chest, where's the waist, where's the elbow, from the elbow to the hands, so the distance. So always pay attention to look at that. So the time what I spend actually is not I don't draw too much on any small shapes, and always taking care the major things. So make sure all the major shapes has to be in the right place. So before continue to develop the small shapes. So my attention, I see this is the shadows. So I see the shadows of the from here, and then how the shadow connect to the shadow on the body. But I look at the light. So how much light, how much in the shadows. So always taking care where is the angle of the shoulder. Because the small things always can change. So this, because it's the live figure, it's not the still life. So you cannot ask, everything has to be precise. So as long as the major shape is right. So the small things you just let go. So because small things like a folds of the skirt, and so something maybe even though the hair, the position of the hair each time is slightly different. So you just you have to keep more. So later you can make adjust, just adjust wherever you think is good. But the major shape always is the priority. Always pay attention, have to taken care. So same as like I kind of back and forth a couple of times to replace I knows everything. So I don't pay attention on any particular detail, but make sure, each shadows, because the eye is turning. So make sure the size. So this is because the nose bridge is kind of slightly have to overlap another side of the eye. So the eye is turning smaller, bigger. And so check for the triangle. This is not this is slightly will change, move, but make sure the size on that, how much to the back of the hair. So this I don't care. This from time to time, always can change. So I wait just the last when I painting, by the time I think is good, I just do it. So make sure the arm, because this is overlapping, but make sure where is the behind it. Okay, so the elbow, even though I don't see it, but how they connect it, so that's why I can see the width of the hand, and and then the hand should be right there. And I'm checking for the size. Of course, at the same time, you can check how high, if they draw the one horizontal line, how close to the lip, slightly lower or a little higher. But of course, the finger, because each time they might be slightly a little different, but that's fine. So those is, the position, I think, is the big deal, but not the small things. So any small things, I just leave it for the, when during the painting processing. So I might slightly, of course, from the time, I will keep adjust. So may not is necessary right now to keep everything is accurate. So small things, I might, take time during the, from the time, I can make a little small adjust. So as far as I know, the position of the hand is right there. But small things, let's say the finger may be slightly to change the shape a little different. That's fine, it's not the big deal, not the major things. This is Gamso, and then as the solvent, and then I make some kind of like a brown color as the kind of underpaint. So I'm going to just e-drew it again. So just keep simple. So I'm using just the very simple, just gamso, and then mix a little brown. So the hair, the shape of the hair will change from time to time. I think I don't really care for that, but some of the, I think this is the kind of a key place. So I just need to make sure in the right place. going to mix the color and then block in time of the, I think the background, the hair, the background, and then the skin tone, the shadow and the light. So first I mix the color. I need to block in the dark first. So I'm going to working on the hair and then continuing the hair, the shadows, and then on the background. I like to use the palette knife to mix because I can mix more paint on the palette. And then slightly to mix a little different color, yellow ochre. And then this is sap green. Then I mix kind of a little, this is the violet, so a little kind of purple. But keep simple. So right now I'm continue working on. So once I get those kind of like a visual, the eye and nose, just and see how the position. Still keep checking for the place. And I'm looking. I see a little kind of a purple color in the shadow. So from time to time, when I mix color, so some of the I used a little. This is the sap green viridian, and then I mix and put aside. And this is kind of a red and the purple. So if I think it's too warm, I just put a little blue color, just a mix. To cool it down. I'm not really paying attention right on the edge on here, but I want to see how between the light and the shadows. So mostly I think I focus on the shape of the nose bridge, the shadow of the nose bridge. I think, to me, I think this is most important. The shape of the nose bridge, and then there's the corner of the shadows, how connect to the eye. So make sure the eye socket in the right place. So part in the light and part in the shadow. So as far as I know the place, because now I'm not really, I want to just keep simple because I know the hand should be right there. I'm not do too much. I want to keep, at this time, just hold on for a little while because I know the position. And I'm going to just put a little color on the background, just only feel and see before I thinking what color there might be on the skin tone in the light. I use some of those. Those color is from last day. So it makes, I like some of those. I call like a junk, the color. So I toned it down for the green color. So it looks like a much neutral. So I slightly to change, even though the background is kind of like something like a kind of greener, a little cool color. But on the left to the right, slightly I change the color temperature. So it doesn't looks like a flat. So kind of give a little bit more gradations. So how to judge the color temperature? Usually I think when you look at, if your eye is stay more than few seconds, sometimes I think it's kind of confused. Let's say, for example, if you look at the shadows and your first second, so you might see kind of a little purple. Then you more look at, you may had a feel, oh, maybe a little, another, different colors or greener or something. Do not just, if you paint the shadow on the nose, for example. Don't just only look at the shadow on the nose, but look at in the light. So compare and look at in the background. So they all connect, they're all related. So the color temperature, I think, is a more relationship. They don't have the exactly like a what color. They don't have any formula, I would say. So it's hard to just only say, oh, there's the skin tone or something else. And it really depends what the color in the background and what the color next to it. So I think is the best is to keep very fresh your eye and screening. If you 1 second you look at the shadows and look at in the light, and then keep your fresh impressions. If you think to you the first second may be kind of purple, so I would say I just push a little bit more, and then see how between these two. Okay, so I think it helps to make a right decision. If the color is not right, then of course you always can go back to to adjust. So I think right now I just show you so far the stage. Just I brought it on the background, and then the hair a little bit more like indication the shadow in the on the face. So I think I'm gonna just take a short break, and before then the next I'm gonna just show you how I'm gonna just get a little kind of like a light skin tone on the face. So the idea just want to get the basic. See how the relationship between the background, the major shape of the hair, the shadows on the face, and the light on the face. So after a short break, and I continue working on the face, I would say. So so I need to slow down. So it's more checking for is the drawing, the value, the color temperature. So I want to be more careful to checking for each angles. So first, I think I need to get a bit more the value and the color, on the hair. Then I can see get the shape is right before I add it on the skin tone. Would you slightly to turn a little bit more? That's it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So right now I'm continue working on, I start from the half tone, so between the light and the shadows. So I start from the kind of like a transparency, but now I add more opaque. So I always look at how between the light and the halftone and shadows. So I'm going to add the eye later. When I put a light skin tone, I think better to complete, paint the unity. So checking for drawing the angles. Since the light is kind of the light is goes below, so the light, the highlight, the halftone, and this slightly a little different. But right now, I think I just get the basic skin tone first, and before I continue to working on more small things. So that's my plan, because today I need to get all those basic color. At the same time, I like to use the palette knife to simply to unify. So the halftone. So I continue just generally get the basic light and shadows. So I will wait until I get the the basic form is right there, and then that would be easier for me, so I can add the lips and the mouth later. So before I continue working on that, and some of the paint on my palette, I think I need to just clean up a little bit. So when I clean up, I just put those colors put aside of the palette. Then I can use it from time to time. So anytime I put the colors and then look again, see how much light, how much dark. So if I can see a little yellow, just push more. Okay. But keep the bottom here is this most light and stronger, and then gradually they getting slightly to change. So from the light to the dark. When I paint the color, at the same time, from time to time, I adjust the drawing at the same time. So right now I'm continue work on the neck. Just move down. So what I have been working on is mostly is on the face. I think I got the basic skin tone, light and shadows, and then the basic form. Small things I think I'm just leave it for tomorrow. So on that, so I use this is I kind of set the basic. That's what I wanted. So that's kind of an interesting part. So I use it is the standard comparison and see how much and the background color. So today, I still had several sections. So I'm just, after the short break, I'm gonna continue to show you how to block in all those shadows, and then I might go back, to continue to block in on the background. And then some of the shape right here, the shadows.
Some painters have the rare ability to capture the very essence of a scene, translated from their mind's eye to canvas, giving the viewer the feel and emotion of a moment preserved in time. Such is the work of master artist Huihan Liu. The emotion and feeling in his paintings comes from a system of painting he has developed for his students over many years, starting a process firmly grounded in the fundamentals of value and composition, and ending with his techniques and brushwork that will make your paintings stand out, all which he shares on a new instructional video, Huihan Liu, Expressive Figure Painting. Now you can become more expressive and painterly in your own artwork, capturing emotion and telling a story. Follow along as this award-winning artist demonstrates how he poses models and creates studies to determine the composition that best tells the story. You'll see a series of time studies of the model in various poses and how he approaches each painting and what he's thinking through the process of what he calls problem solving before he starts on the bigger, final painting. Then you'll see the full painting created from start to finish. You'll have a bird's eye view of the model, the canvas, and the palette as Huihan vigorously mixes paint, works out the composition, establishes values, executes the initial studies. You'll see the difference between the limited palette he uses for short poses and the full palette he turns to for larger work, and why that's important. Watch this thoughtful artist contemplate the scene before him and how he uses his brushes and painting knife in so many fascinating ways. You won't want to miss this master artist at work. There really is no way to explain in words what he does. You simply need to see it for yourself and the possibilities for applying his methods to your own work. Treat yourself by sitting at the feet of a master to learn from his decades of experience. Huihan Liu, Expressive Figure Painting, is now available on DVD or digital download. Order yours now.
Well, that was Expressive Figure Painting with Huihan Liu, and you can learn more about that at lilyartvideo.com. He's such a sweet man, such a great guy. Here's the interview I did with him. Hi, I'm Eric Rhodes, publisher of Fine Art Connoisseur and Plein Air magazines. Today I'm honored to have Huihan Liu with us. Huihan, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Eric. First of all, I think I'm so honored to be interviewed. And it's because we know for many years actually, but I feel so grateful, to be here.
It is I that is honored. It's nice to have you in the studio with us today. So, do you remember when you and I first met?
Yes. We met in the, I think in your house at the time.
Probably.
Yeah, in Lafayette. Yeah. It was a beautiful memory.
Yeah. Well, I was living in Lafayette, California, and you were living in Concord.
Yeah.
Very close by.
Yeah.
So we became, for everybody's benefit, we became friends and went out painting from time to time together.
Yes.
And it was a special time.
Yeah.
I learned a lot watching you.
Well, it was great fun.
Yeah, it was great fun. Well, what I thought would be fun today is for the next few minutes, let's talk about your upbringing, which I find fascinating, and then we'll talk about how you found art, and then we'll talk a little bit about art and technique, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
All right. So tell us where you grew up.
Well, I grew up in southern China, Guangzhou City.
Mm-hmm.
And, during the 50s, actually, the life in China is really, I would say simple, and it's a really undeveloped country. But I grew up in a very quiet and, I would say to me, is the very peaceful, simple life.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think my memory is I start to just, I love to draw, just do a bunch of the sketches, always a sketchbook in my hand.
Now, was this area that you grew up in a farming area, a country area, or was it a city?
It's in the city.
In the city.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of like a city boy.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, I remember you telling me, it seems like there were several people living in your house. Did you have a big family?
I do have a family. I used to live with my grandma, my parents, my grandma.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me you had chickens in the house.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, because my grandma, she's from is the farm area actually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, from countryside, and then moved to the city because my father, he was the teacher, in the city. So we all lived in the same family. Small house, but and my grandma is loved to just raise the chicken, and because chicken at the time in China is really really hard demanding because we cannot buy any, in the market is a really shortage, and so my grandma is a raise chicken and then get the egg. Because the egg is not easy, you can buy it at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
And you used to write on the egg.
Yes. And I remember by the time is each new eggs, and my father just write the day.
Right.
And then put into the jar, just keep it. And then we always ate the egg from the older one. So watch the day. So save the new one.
Yeah. So there was no refrigeration.
No. Yeah. Everything,
So,
we don't have the refrigerations.
And how would you eat the eggs? Is it the same way we eat eggs? Do you boil them or?
Yeah, boiling, mostly, yes.
Uh-huh. So was life difficult at that time when you were growing up?
Well, I would say if a comparison is kind of difficult, but because in China at the time it has been, just close the door. So we thought just everyone daily life pretty much just like this.
Right. Now, tell us how you went from living there to becoming an artist.
I mean, joy is my, I love to draw when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And just made me happy, excited. Mm-hmm. And my father just gave me the piece of paper and the pencils. And later on, I think he brought the watercolor for me. And so I love to go to zoo and any nature, anything. I think I just love to draw. Yeah, I enjoy the shapes. Yeah, but I did not, decide to become. I don't have the big dream, whatever is can be the great artist, whatever. I think just comes from myself.
Right.
My pressure.
Right. And so how did you end up in art school?
Well, in art school, actually is kind of already competitive in China. And because we had few art school in China by the time. And all the kids has to be prepared is we call it a portfolio. But we also have we do have the regional art center. And even though in the middle school, and we have art, in different program, like drawing and music. Mm-hmm. So I was in the drawing program and just have fun. Mm-hmm. But it, go to the, apply for the art school, then have to be, prepare for the portfolios.
So they only had so many seats available or so many classes available for students, and it was competitive to get in. Mm-hmm. So you created a portfolio.
Yes.
And did they give you specifics what needed to be in the portfolio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So were you accepted?
Well, it takes, because after from the high school, I graduated from high school. Because in China, we don't have that much choices.
Right.
So aside is by the government. I worked in the factory, a machine factory, in about a couple of years. That was 1970.
And what were you doing in the factory?
I was just like a worker, just for loading machines and anything.
So you were assigned to that job. You didn't have a choice.
Assigned. Yes, I was assigned. But later, and that time is still 1970, and then I heard that because during the Cultural Revolution, actually all the art schools they closed. But later they like an open policy to accept the applications, but still, I would say still very difficult, because by the time they really, the priority, the thinking is so each applicant is not just determined is by how much good of your skill, but also they have to determine is what's your family, we call like a family background checking, like a political. This is more like a political issue.
Right.
So then I was kind of in the trouble because my family background is not that much, favor.
Well, if I remember correctly, your father was a little bit of a radical?
Yeah, my father actually, my father is a very decent man, and then is the teacher. And because he taught in the Christian school before liberation in China. So somehow the background is we kind of got a little family trouble history.
So that was someone who was Christian at the time was frowned upon in China.
Yeah, in China at the time, and it's not the the trust by the
government.
Yeah, by the government.
So that was a black mark against you in terms of getting into the school.
Yeah, they against me. Actually, I applied the portfolios and then. But the school, the committee, and first I think they look at and they want me to, because we need to take a test, examination. Mm-hmm. So the test is I think it's about 3 days in, for like a drawing, the title of the creation. They give the title, name the title, and then you're just thinking about the compositions, how the, for, so something like the assignment.
So they wanted to make sure that what was in your portfolio you could actually do.
Right, yeah. But later and I think I had a very good teacher. Actually, without her help, and I won't be able to get into the art school because many things is kind of a complicated issue. Yeah. But I think everything to me, I think I was lucky.
Yeah.
So
probably your friends that you grew up with are still working in that factory many years later.
That's true. That's true. So to me, I think that's the turning point of my life. Yeah.
Well, that opened up your life in so many ways. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about that, but I want to talk about the Cultural Revolution because I think it's important. Most people in America don't understand what happened in terms of the relationship between the Chinese and the Russia as it related to art. Can you talk about that?
Well, I think during the 50s in China and we call like a former Soviet, at the time period. And I think China and the Russia have done a lot the culture exchange program. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think most of the art educations is the art school in China is more influenced by the Russian academic systems.
So if I understand it correctly, the Chinese, because they were communist and they had a relationship with Russia, with Stalin.
Yeah.
And Stalin had protected representational art in Russia. When everything was leaning modern throughout the rest of the world, he was focusing on representational art and really kept those techniques alive. And then the teachers from Russia came to China and taught in China so that they would be able to teach these techniques. Is that correct?
Yes. So like my teachers' generations, they grow up at a time, and then many of those actually they learn from the Russians. So Russian is the professional and come to teach in China, and then the China professional is the went to Russia and then study over there. Mm-hmm. And then the art school also, we do have a lot, exchange exhibitions. So we see some of the art school, their student work, and then they see some of the from China's.
Well, that was a great education. Mm-hmm. What was the education process like in art school for you? Did they follow the traditional academic program they used in Russia? Did they start out drawing from casts and then to life, or did they do it differently?
I think the system in China is same as in Russia at the time, and we have we had we call like a 3 years preparatory school for the art academy. So like 3 years preparatory. So preparatory school means the kids, after the middle school, if they accept into preparatory art school, it's about to take about 3 years.
And
so
that's just to train you to be good enough to get into the other school.
Yeah.
And that's the same way it is in Russia.
Yeah. So after they get the 3 years and trainings, so mostly it's the focus, the drawings and compositions, all those are basic and all anatomy. Then later they can apply, if they accept, and then they can continue to study another 4 years in academy.
And so you made it all the way through?
But that was in the, before Cultural Revolution and after Cultural Revolution.
So it didn't change.
But now they still continue pretty much the same system.
Yeah. So the training in China right now, is it being influenced by modernism, or is it still very traditional?
I would say in general in China, somehow they got the more loose, more modern. Mm-hmm. Yeah, more modern. And the education, of course, they still have the, stress the foundation drawing. And but the idea, the concept, it can be more, a bit more, they stress the individuals.
Right. So when you and I met, you were teaching in San Francisco.
Yeah.
At, what was the name of the art school?
The Academy of Art.
The Academy of Art.
Now it's become Academy of Art University in San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were a professor there. What was the process of training your students? Did you have to follow the Academy of Arts process, or did you implement your own with your students?
Well, because I come as to further my graduate school studies in San Francisco, because I was the teacher in China, and then but I furthered my study in San Francisco, the academy at the time. But after, actually my major is illustrations. Illustrations. Uh-huh. What I like is because when I come at the time in academy, they're more modern, in the fire department. So to me, because my interest, I love the illustration, and because American illustrator they got a lot of good foundations and mm-hmm. all the, and technical painting skills. And I think I learned a lot from there. But after I graduate in a couple of years, I think the academy actually, they changed the direction. It become more representational, more traditional way. And at the academy, I think one of the director in the academy is the Craig Nelson. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Bill Mong, actually, they become the director, co-director in FIR.
Right.
And then I think that one day, because there's just long story make short. Because before that, after graduate, I've been working for the storyboard, for about 3 years. Uh-huh. Yeah. But later, so when I applied, and I think I had an interview with the in fire department in the academy. And Craig and Bill, they look at my portfolio, and then they're happy, So I was lucky that I got a teaching job over there.
So that immigration from China to America was pretty difficult at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, very, very difficult. So yeah. I was lucky because when I worked in the Storyboard Express in about 3 years. So actually I did not that. Is to, how to say, because the company, they want me to ask me if I would like to stay, keep working on it, because the storyboard is kind of very demanding job. Mm-hmm. But the company is actually, because I don't have the idea, because I learned a lot actually is, because I'm from China, I don't have the much more knowing about the pop culture in Americans actually.
Right.
But the storyboard is that they relate to the advertising, the really American culture. So then I work for my portfolio because my company had the rep, is that they present the portfolio because we had a studio artist.
Right.
Yeah, and then the advertising agency director, they like my portfolio and keep me busy. And that's why the company asked me to stay. And so at the time, of course, I love here, and then because it's a free, and my family and then my son also in here. So that's why the company is helping me to.
So your son was born in America?
Yeah, no, my son is born in China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but when he came, he was about 2 years old.
I see.
Yeah.
So while your wife and your son were back in China while you were studying here?
Yeah, we separated in about a year, more than a year. When I was
That's hard.
Yeah. I come as the foreign student, actually.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, very difficult. Yeah. But I was really lucky because so they come accompany with me.
So for somebody who's new to painting, maybe painting and drawing, just starting out, and maybe they don't have the advantage of being able to go to art school, what is your recommendation for them? What is the most efficient way for them to learn and to get the best education on their own?
Well, to me, my experience, I think, of course, if you had a chance to go to art school, it's good, but, just like everything, it's not everyone had the chance, and if not, but you just keep, just anything from your heart. I think the drawing is most important to me. Yeah, do enjoy, and then always, I would say to me, I think a lot of good painter. The education is important. Like academic training is important, but also is self-learning. Figure out. Is learning from difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think is important too. It doesn't mean is how many years your academic training or something. So just set the foundation, but you still be able to. You have to keep learning every day, just from any, be more open your eye.
Right.
Yeah. Just keep doing, from your heart.
Yes. Well, that's good advice.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about why you paint and why you choose the subjects that you typically choose. You and I were talking last night when you arrived a little bit about how you like variety.
I like varieties, and well, I think just comes to my personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, because artists are different. What I like, I like to paint, at least I can see it, and I like to meet people. That's why I enjoy the trips. And also subject matter to me, I enjoy the different subject matter. But mostly is, I have to be, in the life, then I can see it, then I can feel. Mm-hmm. And to me, I think that's so important.
When you go on these trips, you have these magnificent paintings of children and families, people on horses, all kinds of variety. Are you posing these people when you're there? Are you just taking random snapshots? Are you doing sketches?
Yeah, I love just very casual snapshot, and or if I can, I just bring my sketchbook. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mostly I think I like to catch the moment, the people, even though they can, you ask them, they agree to pose for you, but when they pose, I don't think they're lost, Yeah,
right.
because
they're trying too hard.
Yeah, I want to be more natural and more casual.
Right.
I don't know. I consider, myself, I love the late 19th century. That's my personal. Late 19th century, and mostly like a naturalist. Mm-hmm. Just in different places, the people with the location. So I want to paint the people just be themselves with the environment.
And where have you not gone yet to paint that you want to go and paint, or go and take pictures or sketches?
Well, I think I still have many many places in my list. Yeah, but I think this year I will be going to another Tibetan region with American artists friends in September.
Is that hard? Is it difficult to travel in Tibet?
It's difficult if in the Tibetan region. Yeah, you got to have to apply the special visa and permit.
And do you have to have a translator, or do they speak Mandarin?
They speak Mandarin, but what I like, because when I design, the trips it's not just like tourist trips. I want to be more culturally.
You want to get integrated into...
Yeah, integrate to explore the local culture. So usually I give them my itinerary, the different small town and different places. So I think that's fun part. I had a chance to.
And then you just walk around and meet people and.
Yeah, just the regular people, just meet the people.
Oh, how wonderful!
Yeah.
Well, that sounds fascinating. I'd love to go with you one time.
Yeah, sure.
You also do a lot of plein air painting.
I do. Because I don't know. I like to from time to time take a little balance. Mm-hmm. I do studio paintings, but also I do plein air. Because the plein air it helps you to have the fresh eye. Because I cannot just, if I do the studio painting, of course, sometimes some of the paintings, if they're complicated, large paintings, I take a while, it takes time.
Yes.
And I may not be able to just, to get the fresh eye. So if I feel bored, then I might just, plein air, and then I go back, then I had a better idea.
Well, when you're painting outdoors, you're in a little bit of a hurry. You're not doing a studio painting outdoors because your light is changing.
Yeah.
So you get these fresh brush strokes and the fresh feeling, and you're trying to bring those feelings back to the studio.
Yeah, that's so important because when you're in the studio, you have to rely on the photo reference. But you don't want to paint photo reference just for the reference. And but I want the painting it still looks like painting from life. Mm-hmm. So plein air, all those feelings, and always can bring the fresh feelings into the studio painting. Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to learn about form. And if I remember correctly, you used to make your students go out and do plein air painting.
Yes. Yeah. Because I love, be on location. I think I enjoy it because you have you connect with the nature. And also is the kind of a challenge because it's more quick decision making because the light and shadow is changed so fast.
So what has it been like for you trying to make a living as an artist? Because we hear stories from some artists who struggle. Has it been a struggle for you? What was it like trying to get established so that you could make a living? Obviously you had a teaching income. Mm-hmm. But at some point you left that.
Yes. I think that's a good question. I think that's really challenge if the artist for making living is the artist. Of course, you really have to do your best. Is the best work, and you have to set your standard.
Right.
And be looking around, I always open my mind and then see the good work. Mm-hmm. I think that I always have to be above your hand. Okay, hand technique, I think it comes from practice. So skill and technique is still learning, improving.
Right.
Yeah, no matter how many years. But I just always keep, is open-minded, be open-minded. And then of course, is the never stop to learn, paint from nature, wherever you can. Mm-hmm. And then enter some of the shows, I would say, save best work. Yeah, of course, you got to understand because, yeah, as what you said, it's difficult because don't be afraid to fail because show is, is the, if you show, up to the competition, whatever any shows is really subjective. Right? Subjective. You got to understand.
Right.
Yeah, the objective is yourself, your standard. But don't worry, just you send out, just you think that's your best work. But if not accepted, wherever, and I think just be be humble. I think that's so important. And that's the way is that you always keep learning because, it's the last 30 years because I've been here. I think, I'm thinking because, yes, struggle, because you fail many times, you rejected by the show, and then you accept it, and then you won the award. And then your painting is not selling, right? Sometimes your work is, you think, is the best, but, is the people are just have different, different feelings. Yeah, of course, people can enjoy it, it's much happier, but everything is not that. But I think be happy, be open, be humble.
How do you know when your work is excellent? That I think that's the hard thing is sometimes I'll be painting and I know something's wrong, but I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what's wrong. But it just doesn't have that feeling of excellence. How do you, when you get stuck like that, how do you fix that problem?
I think when you're setting up, the painting, the idea, well, first, I think each painting to me have the limitations. The limitation means the idea, the visual idea, it's impossible you can combine so many different. Because when you decide the idea for this painting, let's say if the painting is more just, on the face, for example.
Right.
Okay, so it can be the idea kind of like a portraiture. Okay, if this likeness, that's what you focus. Mm-hmm. And then that may be the idea. And then you design, and then the color and everything have to relate to the idea.
Right, everything has to support the idea.
Yeah, have to support the idea. But if the figure gives you the feeling you want to paint more mood and atmosphere instead of just only the face or the likeness. If the likeness is not the main issue, then you can figure out that maybe how you can deal with the figure, maybe the gestures and the background and anything. So the worst part to me, I think, during the time I feel frustrated, and because when I set the idea is the primary idea, and let's see, if I want to do kind of like a portraiture, for example, simple, and then the middle of the painting, why I just change it? I may add something. I mean, you can try it, you can explore, but many ideas, if they put together, sometimes I think we confuse. Mm-hmm. And the painting, to me, I think is not working. Make sure the idea is clear.
Do you have any advice on composition? Do you have a particular rules that you follow, or do you just kind of make it up every time?
Well, I don't have any rules. Yeah, I want to see any options. Yeah, I always want to try if there are any options. Yeah, usually I do a lot of, different, like a thumbnail sketch, just a very abstract, simple design. Mm-hmm. And maybe, is a, vertical or horizontal, maybe square, how my work. And, is to see how the basic value placement, mm-hmm. and if it interests me, and then later I make choices.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, this has been wonderful. Thank you for your time today. I'm honored that you would come here, and I'm so looking forward to spending more time with you. Oh, thank you, Eric. It's been so much fun. In the way. Thank you very much. If you want to learn to paint, that's the guy to learn from. Huihan Liu, Expressive Figure Painting, which you can find at lilyartvideo.com. I am enjoying this time when I can do things and learn things and grow. I'm trying new things. I'm learning sculpture. I'm trying new things in painting. This is a great time for you too. Take good advantage of it. I'm Eric Rhodes.
Some painters have the rare ability to capture the very essence of a scene, translated from their mind's eye to canvas, giving the viewer the feel and emotion of a moment preserved in time. Such is the work of master artist Huihan Liu. The emotion and feeling in his paintings comes from a system of painting he has developed for his students over many years, starting a process firmly grounded in the fundamentals of value and composition, and ending with his techniques and brushwork that will make your paintings stand out, all which he shares on a new instructional video, Huihan Liu, Expressive Figure Painting. Now you can become more expressive and painterly in your own artwork, capturing emotion and telling a story. Follow along as this award-winning artist demonstrates how he poses models and creates studies to determine the composition that best tells the story. You'll see a series of time studies of the model in various poses and how he approaches each painting and what he's thinking through the process of what he calls problem solving before he starts on the bigger, final painting. Then you'll see the full painting created from start to finish. You'll have a bird's eye view of the model, the canvas, and the palette as Huihan vigorously mixes paint, works out the composition, establishes values, executes the initial studies. You'll see the difference between the limited palette he uses for short poses and the full palette he turns to for larger work, and why that's important. Watch this thoughtful artist contemplate the scene before him and how he uses his brushes and painting knife in so many fascinating ways. You won't want to miss this master artist at work. There really is no way to explain in words what he does. You simply need to see it for yourself and the possibilities for applying his methods to your own work. Treat yourself by sitting at the feet of a master to learn from his decades of experience. Huihan Liu, Expressive Figure Painting, is now available on DVD or digital download. Order yours now.